Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Bedford. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals with you. It's FNL Gridiron presented by Beals Insurance, and we have a packed show as we get set for week number 7 already in the NHIAA schedule. We'll kick things off in a few moments with Roger Brown. Of course, he is the founder of FNL, or not the founder of FNL, that's us. He's the founder of NHFootballReport.com. He's, of course, a senior staff writer at the Union Leader as well. You know who Roger is. He's coming up at about 6:15 Eastern or so. Bottom of the hour, Bill Ball, 44 years a part of the program over at Exeter. Blue Hawks, of course, in that Division I mix. We'll speak with Coach coming up at 6:30. Then at 6:45, we go to the player side of things. Senior quarterback from Bedford, Joe Michael, a multi-sport standout over there with the Bulldogs, one of the better quarterbacks statewide. And then at 7 o'clock, top of hour number 2, we bring in another legend. That, of course, is Brian O'Reilly, the head coach from Pinkerton. Astros, one loss on the season. We'll see them this weekend. A lot to talk about and catch up with Coach O'Reilly at 7 o'clock. Final interview comes your way at 7:15. That's, of course, Coach John Triciani Jr. of BG. So count them, 5 guests, all prominent, and all factoring in here, midway point, or I guess the 2/3 mark of the regular season now behind us. Steve, before we get into some scores and some recap, we'll welcome in Roger in a minute, but how are you, my friend?
Doing okay, Nick. Fun setting up for the show tonight. We got a newfangled mic system, but we're going to have that fully corrected shortly.
Yes.
And kind of exciting to go to a 3-camera set as well. Coming off Salem, the game that we did in Salem, and they survived, and they beat a good Keene team, and they're back in the mix, and they can make some things happen, and it's kind of up to them where they go from here. But these 4 teams that we're going to be, the coaches, John Triciani from BG and Brian O'Reilly for Pinkerton, Bedford and Exeter, Bill Ball and Matthews. Of course, we'll have Michael on, as you said. These are 4 teams that are part of the 1A circle, as far as I'm concerned. I think BG has elevated itself into that 1A circle as well of teams that have proven that they can beat anybody. And Winnicott looms out there in the East, pretty special. Londonderry, the other undefeated team. This last 4 weeks, Nick, a lot of big games coming up. It's going to be a showdown. This is great Division I football that we always hope and expect we're going to get. So I'm excited. Yeah,
Friday night, of course, we'll be in Exeter. Blue Hawks hosting the Bulldogs. It's a 7 o'clock kick. We'll be on the air at about 6:45 or so. And Saturday, we're back in the gate city of Nashua as BG plays host to Pinkerton. So there it is, Steve. I mean, you're talking about heavyweights. We're talking about Week 7. We knew that there'd be stratification as we get to the later weeks of the season. And here we are. It seems like the contenders are starting to step forward. And by this time next week, we'll have an even clearer idea, perhaps, of how things shape out in Division I.
I'm going to bring another word besides stratification, and it's consistency. And the 2 teams that have proven that they're solid football teams, in my opinion, are Keene and Nashua North. And it just shows you that they can have a bad week one week or a not so great week, and then they come back, and Nashua brought BG right to the end. And then, Keene had real opportunities. I mean, some people think that wasn't a game. That was a game.
Yeah.
Going into the third quarter, if something different had happened besides McDonald taking the ball all the way to the house and spreading that gap, that game could have been very, very different. Salem did prove, though, that it was their night, that they were the better team. The better team won that night, and Steve's got to be pretty happy that his team responded.
Yeah, that was a 34-22 final score. Salem a winner. They now put together 2 victories in a row, trying to get on a little bit of momentum. They hand Keene their 3rd loss of the season. You mentioned that BG Nashua North battle. That was a classic, 26-25, the final score.
Dante
there
doesn't like to lose 2 in a row, and he fought. That team fought awful hard to take on a top-level team in BG to hang right there, right to the very end.
And it seems like even in defeat, Nashua South, on the other side of the coin, hung around with Pinkerton, 28-21, the final there. The Astros do get the win. South struggling, as we know, this season with just 1 win, but it seems like They've put together a couple of back-to-back strong performances at least, and I don't think anyone really wants to face them over the course of the final 3 weeks of the regular season.
No, I'd say the three teams that are battling that I don't think anybody wants to play are Salem, Nashua North, Nashua South, and Portsmouth out in the on the coast. That Portsmouth team is I've said it all year long. They've got a defense that can, if they get a couple, points, they, intercept the ball, score a touchdown, offense goes down the field, scores. They need some things to go their way against these other teams that we were talking about. But consistency with the teams that we're talking about and what we call that 1A circle, they're consistent every week. And even in those close games where they're challenged by a very good, run by Nashua North or South or Port, these teams just end up somehow winning the game. And, so we'll see where it goes. Division I's loaded. It's packed. The numbers are up. This is very exciting as we move through this season and on to the football future in Division I, New Hampshire.
Yeah, taking a look at some of the final scores that, well, I guess we already covered a few of them. You mentioned the Portsmouth game. They fall 21-6, though, held Winnicott to 21 in that 21-6 defeat. Dover, a big blowout loss. They lose to Exeter 40-0. Bluehawks continuing to roll with just one loss on the season. Speaking of teams with one loss, Goffstown, another big win, 35-6 over winless Spalding. Bedford put up 54 in a win over Memorial, 54-14. Merrimack, good to see them with a win. They top Alvern 35-28. And, of course, Londonderry still unbeaten, 42-13 winners over Wyndham. And a low-scoring game, but another win for Concord, 3-0 over Central. All right, we've got some pressing questions for Roger Brown. He'll help us navigate not just the Division I picture, but the Division II, 3 and 4, for that matter as well.
Look forward to that.
I'm sure if we press Roger, he'll be ready to roll. So he's on the other side. He's the founder of the NHFootballReport.com. He's also, of course, of the New Hampshire Union Leader. All that and more when we return. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. Back here at the Beals Insurance Studios, Nick Anastas, Steve Beals. It's FNL Gridiron. It can be heard every Thursday night live at 6 Eastern. And anytime after that on our YouTube channel. That's FNLNH Media on YouTube again at FNLNH Media. In about 15 minutes or so, we talk with Bill Ball of Exeter. Joe Michael, third-year quarterback for the Bulldogs, is at about 6:45. Top of hour 2, Brian O'Reilly of Pinkerton. Coach Triciani of BG at 7:15. But let's bring him in right now. Roger Brown, the founder of the New Hampshire Football Report, of course, senior staff writer at the New Hampshire Union Leader as well. Roger, good evening.
Hey, guys. How are you?
We are good. Bear with us, Roger. No headphones for the moment. We're kind of winging it here in the studio, but you look great. You sound great as usual, and we appreciate you joining us tonight. Division I now, 6 weeks old, right? We've got 2 unbeaten still, and then a handful of teams with 1 loss. What do you make of the top 5 or 6 or so? Who's trending in the right direction? Who's not? Clarify the top tier of Division I for us.
Ooh, well, right now I think the top tier is, Exeter, Winnicott, Londonderry in some order, and of course, Winnicott beat Exeter. It was a close game, so I'm going to keep Exeter in that top tier for now. Maybe even throw Pinkerton in there as well. I guess those four, and then just a notch below, I would put Pinkerton and Goffstown. Excuse me, Salem and Goffstown. And then you got Bishop Girton as another team to throw in there. So, and then Bedford. So I think we're going to have eight good teams in the playoffs, and on any given day, one of them could knock off the others. But I guess since they're undefeated, you got to go with Londonderry and Winnicott as the teams to beat right now.
We had talked way back in the summer at the Jamboree about how this season really, for the first time in a while in Division I, was filled with parity. We had seen unbeatens run the table really for the better part of the last decade or so, but you predicted it. You were the ones who said, you know what, this year may be a little bit different with really 6, 7, as you just said, 8 teams with a legitimate chance. How wide open is the field this year in comparison to the last few years?
Well, I do think there are more good teams at the top of Division I. In recent years, it's been, a couple teams, maybe 3, and then a gap to the others. And not saying there's not a gap this year, but I don't think it's as wide of a gap. And who knows how Londonderry would do against an Exeter or a Winnicott or vice versa. Same thing with Pinkerton. So I do think we have more teams with a legitimate shot at winning the title this year. Yeah.
In terms of improvement, right, we've seen teams go kind of week to week. Obviously, the unbeatens have been steady. We've seen teams bounce back from a loss and play well the next team. But with Week 7 looming, who's playing well, who's not over, let's say, the last 2 or 3 ball games?
Well, I think the team that fits that profile is Goffstown. A team that many thought would be the team to beat or one of them when the season began. And, of course, they opened with that lopsided loss to Exeter, and then they had some, the cancellations, and they've had really a herky-jerky season, but they've won 3 in a row, not against the greatest of competition, all those games, but, if they play well against Winnicott, they don't even have to win. If they beat them or come close, you're going to have to throw them in the mix as well as a team that, might do some damage and go far in the postseason this year, and a scary team for sure. Because I do think, they might have hit their stride a little bit later than other teams, but they've got momentum and they're going in the right direction for sure.
Roger, Steve here. Thanks again, as always, for coming on. It's great to see you again. Saw you on Monday night, and we were down there doing some out in Exeter, and we are at Friday Night Lights pretty excited about the Bedford at Exeter game.
Sure.
Break that, yeah. For us, Roger, and what do you think either team has to do in order to win? Give us the things that have to happen for each of those teams, in your opinion.
Well, in my mind, it's fairly simple, Steve. I think Bedford is going to have to throw to win, and Exeter is going to have to defend the pass to win. I don't think Bedford wants to go punch for punch with Exeter. That's Exeter's game. Not that they want to abandon the run, but, I think they'd have more success spreading Exeter out, throwing the ball. And, if they can do that with some success, I think that's their best chance to come out of Exeter with a victory. And they certainly are capable of doing that, right? They've got one of the best passing quarterbacks in the state for sure. And so, I think Exeter will be fine against Bedford's running game. Unless Bedford gets the passing game going and they have trouble defending that, then they can, open up some things in the run game. So I really think it's Bedford's pass game that's going to determine the outcome and, how well Exeter can defend it or how well Bedford can gain yardage and put some points on the board through the air.
Solid linebacker core that's Division I material as well. How do you think that Bill Ball, I call it ground and pound, but there's more to it than that. There's execution at a high level when they run the ball with that offensive line and out of that T formation. So how do you when you look ahead, do you see Exeter, how do they fare, do you think, against that Bedford defensive 7?
Well, that's it's a tough offense to defend. I know, some people who maybe not into football look at it and think it's fairly simple and not all that sophisticated, but it's very difficult to defend. It's no fun to play against, and it's a fist fight, and Bedford's going to have to be ready for a fist fight defensively. Um, and it wears you down too, as you probably know, Steve. You get into the third and fourth quarter. Uh, you get tired of tackling those guys coming at you play after play after play. So Bedford's going to have to hang in there. I think time of possession is something that might be a big factor. You don't want Exeter to have the ball, the Exeter offense to have the ball for long stretches and dominate time of possession, so your defense can be fresh. But it's a tough. It's a tough outfit to defend, and they've been running it and doing well with it for years. And, when I played, Trinity ran it, and it was no fun back then, and I don't think anything's changed, in terms of defending it, the team.
Saturday night, Roger, we're in Stello Stadium, where Pinkerton's coming to town to face BG. BG's on a heck of a run here. Had a close game against Nashua North. Somehow that doesn't surprise me that much, given the rivalry between those three Nashua teams. It's just bound to be close, and of course Dante's solid coach brought his guys to play, and but BG won the game, and it counts as a W. So Pinkerton's coming in. Pinkerton looked very solid to me in the film that I've seen. How do you see that game? At the whistle when the first kickoff happens, what do you think each of those teams has to do?
Well, it's the same thing for BG. They'll have to defend the wing T and Pinkerton's running game. That's what they're going to do, and they're going to do it until you prove you can stop them. And that game, Steve, is probably the most interesting one to me. I'm interested to see what the score is, to see if BG beats them or hangs with them. I am very impressed with BG. I just needed to see them, how they do in this game before I'm going to really elevate them maybe into the upper tier of teams. But if they come out of this one with a victory, you got to throw them in there as well. Coach Triciani's done a great job. They look great in the jamboree, and for those people who thought that was a fluke, that's certainly proven not to be the case. And very interested to see the final score of that Pinkerton BG game.
Well, Roger, I'm going to hand it back to Nick, but where are you going to be this weekend?
I'm going to be walking the dog at Exeter with you guys tomorrow.
I met his dog the other night.
Oh, really?
Quite a story that goes behind that dog, yeah.
What's the dog's name?
Yeah, Exeter.
What's the dog's name, Roger? Okay.
So we'll be in Exeter watching that one. And then Saturday, I got to do the UNH Dartmouth game. But for high school, I'll be Exeter Bedford on Friday night.
Beautiful. Well, hope to see you there in Exeter. We'll be there. Look forward to it. I'll hand it back to Nick. And as always, Raj, thanks for coming on.
Okay, not a problem, guys. Thank you.
Yeah, Roger, we'll touch base down the road again. Maybe we have a little bit more time, dive into D2 and D3. As we know, those races are tightening up as well. But we'll let you run and welcome in Coach Ball here in a minute. But thank you again, Roger, for coming on, and we'll catch up.
Yeah, don't tell Coach Ball I walked the dog there, please.
It was outside the fence.
No. It won't be from us.
Okay, guys,
Thank you,
care.
Roger.
All right, Roger.
All right.
You too.
That's Roger Brown, of course, senior staff writer with the New Hampshire Union Leader, founder of the New Hampshire Football Report. Steve, what'd you think there?
Well, I always like his insight, and I think he nailed it as far as Exeter's defensive back work. I think as much as it is the execution at a high level by Joe Michael, who to me is a quarterback that if I was a college looking for a quarterback in Bedford, he'd be one of the top guys, if not the top guy I'd look at.
Yeah.
I think his ability to pass with strength and precision on the far out stretches of the field, throw from his weak side with precision, this guy and the decision making he makes is at a very high level. And I think that, we saw Bill Ball when they faced Dover last year in that game. He did a magnificent job defending with those defensive backs, locking down on those receivers, and I think Roger nailed it. That is going to be the essence of the game, and who's going to be victorious on that individual battle, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
Yeah, and again, reminder, that game's at 7 o'clock. The only place you can see it live in full, 1080 HD, is right here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. Kickoff at 7, coverage at 6:45. Again, the handle is FNLNH Media on YouTube. So, Joe Michael will join us later in the show. How do you game plan against a 3-year starter like Michael? We ask longtime Exeter head coach Bill Ball that question next. You are watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. It's FNL Gridiron here on Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Nick Anastas, Steve Beals from the Beals Insurance Studios in Bedford. Joe Michael of Bedford, the quarterback, coming up in about 15 minutes or so. Coach O'Reilly of Pinkerton is on the way at 7, and Coach Triciani from BG will help us wrap up the show. Right now, from the field, live from the soccer field, is Exeter head football coach Bill Ball. He's also, of course, the school's athletic director. He joins us now on FNL Gridiron. Coach, good evening.
Evening, guys. How are you doing?
We are good. Your team continues to roll. Another shutout victory over Dover, 40-0. Just one loss on the year. Playing well at the right time. Of course, two important factors in any season, but this group, Coach, right on schedule, I would say. Has anything surprised you over the course of the first 6 weeks, or is this group performing exactly to your expectations?
Well, I'm really pleased with the way they practice. And it was a carryover from the winter to the spring to the summer and working out, and certainly carried over the preseason. And it's a group that's really easy to coach. Effort is always an A+, and I mean that, and I've been doing this a long time. This group is a highly motivated group, so it makes it so much easier, and we're able to do a few more things in the past, I think, because of their attention to detail, and real happy so far.
Yeah. Is it a case, Coach, where you can throw more things at them as the season progresses? Not necessarily playbook-wise, but can you open up things a little bit if you can sense that they're receptive to taking on that kind of a workload?
Yeah, you can do that. And the other thing is, in-game adjustments. They pay attention to detail, whether it's an adjustment on, how you're going to play, change your gap responsibilities, or how your run fits go. They understand it. They study a lot of film. They spend a lot of time here, and it's so far it showed greatly.
Yeah, you've got some seniors, as you usually do, a strong class in leadership positions, it seems like. And we talk about your offense. We talk about your relationships with your quarterbacks, past and present. But how about this defense? It seems like, Coach, this year maybe the strength relies on the defensive side of the ball. Another impressive shutout against an athletic Dover squad over the weekend. Of course, your offense put up 40 as well, but your defense has really looked impressive, at least to me, so far through 6 weeks. Is that fair to say? Is perhaps the defense the strength of this year's unit?
Yeah, I would agree. Pretty good. The back end of the defense has surpassed expectations. They communicate well. We're in a stretch here that, we had Lopez Sullivan last week, and we certainly get Joe this weekend with Bedford, and he presents a myriad of other problems to us defensively. So it's real important how we approach things, and you got to be able to understand what the quarterback, the decision maker on the other side of the ball is trying to do. And every week that's a challenge. And there's really a lot of good quarterbacks in this division this year, a lot. And we're facing one of the finest tomorrow night.
Coach Steve Eels here. Appreciate you coming on. I agree with you on Michael. I think you got a pretty darn good quarterback yourself at Exeter as well, and I certainly put both of these guys in that top 3 or 4 quarterbacks in Division I. But let's talk about Michael for a sec. One of the things that that he seems to have is he seems to have not only a quick release, he also has a quick mind to make decisions. He seems, other than like sophomore year, this year he's throwing the ball away when there's nothing there, protecting maintaining the ball, not taking risks. But one of the things I noticed about him is he can fire a ball to the out patterns with such velocity that it's awful hard for the defensive backs to be able to recover if the Bedford can create separation.
Right.
How do you defend something like that, Coach, is my question.
Well, a couple of things with him. One, he's incredibly poised back there. Whether he's throwing the out at 10 or whether he's throwing the out at 16 to 17, which he does throw.
Yep.
And I would say not many high school quarterbacks can make that throw. He makes that throw with ease. Watch it all week. And he's a decision maker. He makes real good decisions with the ball. He doesn't turn it over if it's not there. And the other thing is he's got great feet. So, choose your poison.
Right.
He'll run with the ball. And he puts them in really good spots. Their scheme is solid. They kind of give you the spread with a tight end. And they also use an H-back in there. And they got the number 2 on the outside. Is a real good receiver, and running backs are tough. But make no mistake, he's the guy. He makes it all happen, and he does a great job. Again, incredibly poised. It's a funny thing. I did meet him one time. He's a face-off guy for Bedford, so I'm refereeing the Bedford BG game. And I heard he was the quarterback, so I started talking to him at the face-off. And he's a great kid.
Yes.
You can just tell he's put a lot of time in the off season. You just don't show up in June and complete the passes that he's completing. That's repetition. That's working with his receivers during the summer. It's all, and it's paying off for him. It's coming to fruition.
Well, one of the other things, I haven't seen you. Congratulations on that incredible game that you guys have at Winnicott. That was a heck of a game. Nobody has played them 14-7 the way you guys did, and I think you would agree with a couple of things going your way. That could have been the opposite. You guys seemed like just a great matchup, and I just want you to know that was good quality football in that game on both sides, and it was awful fun to watch. And that doesn't happen in June either. So congratulations on that game between both teams living up to task. Other question I had is on your offense. One of the things that Bedford has, they got some defensive ends that are just solid. Their tackles are solid. Their whole front seven seems to work pretty well. But so doesn't the Exeter Blue Hawk offensive line. Those guys hit their blocks. They never stand up, or if they do, I haven't seen it. And you seem to have a cadence not only do you get through the ball quickly, you seem to be – quarterback just does a terrific job with the cadence, helping those guys get the advantage. What can you say about this matchup with Bedford from your offensive line standpoint and your blocking backs? How do you think you match up?
They're stout. Not only do they have really, really good size with the Boza kid in the middle there, but and the 2 defensive ends that come off the edge hard, but their linebackers are active, and they, like you said, they're well coordinated. They tackle pretty well in space, and it's going to be a challenge for us. It really is, and but it's exciting, to have that opportunity. And like I said, we've had a great week of preparation, and we're really excited about playing here at Eustis Field.
Well, I'll let you go, Coach, but hand it back to Nick. But I got to be honest with you, Exeter's matchups are really exciting this year, and we appreciate the quality of football that that program brings every week, and that's why we just can't wait to get out and cover it. We'll see. We'll be there, so give us a wave when you come out, and we'll be up there. And we really appreciate the opportunity to show our audience you guys in Bedford this weekend. So thanks for everything.
That.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck this weekend as well.
All right, guys. See you tomorrow night.
Thank you. And again, longtime head coach at Exeter, Bill Ball, joining us live from the soccer field. A busy time of year for the AD.
I don't know how he does it.
By the way, right?
I mean, you and Roger were doing a lacrosse game. He shows up to that. I mean, he
just gave us a quick lacrosse officiating
we were watching
story as well.
My son and I were watching one night, of all things, some Exeter school board meetings, and they've panned the crowd. And this Coach Ball, I assume, with his wife out in the field. I mean, out in the seats, and I mean, the guy's just everywhere. And but you really like to hear a coach talk so highly about a group of guys that he's got. Yeah. And you can tell this group means a lot to him. And you play Winnicott 14-7 and that tight. I mean, that's going to be a heck of a matchup. And I hope, however they structure the playoffs, Exeter and Winnicott, if they earn those spots of 1 and 2 in that conference, in the north and the east. The east. I sure hope that they don't mind playing each other in the first round if they both win out. You know what I'm saying? Because that would be great to see them play a few games and have a tremendous matchup on the semifinal games that weekend.
And then, of course, Bedford has been kind of up and down. They get a 54-14 win last week over Memorial. Can they keep it going against a vaunted Exeter defense? We find out next with Bedford quarterback Joe Michael. The senior is a 3-year starter, and you can hear him live in just a few minutes here on FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. Well, we're back here in Bedford in the Beals Insurance Studios. Nick and Astis with Steve Beals. FNL Gridiron live Thursday nights at 6. And anytime after that on our archives, you can find those on our YouTube channel. That's at FNLNH Media. Again, FNLNH Media on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, and you won't miss a thing all fall. We appreciate Roger Brown of the New Hampshire Football Report jumping on with us. Good conversation a moment ago with Coach Bill Ball of Exeter. We've got head coach Brian O'Reilly coming up in about 15 minutes or so, the Pinkerton headman, and then Coach Trish of BG, Triciani, will close down the show with us. But right now, Bedford quarterback, the senior, Joe Michael, joins us now here on FNL Gridiron. There he is. Good evening, my friend. How are you, Joe?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good. Where are you right now? Are you in the bedroom? You in the coach's office? Where are you?
I'm in the athletic director's office right now.
Oh, Corey Parker's office.
Wow.
Okay, that's usually a bad thing if you're called into his office.
Roll it out.
How are you tonight? Your team looked very good. We'll start there. Last week against Manchester Memorial, 54-14, a big blowout. Just what you guys needed, right? Coming off a loss, get yourself back in the win column in fun fashion, right? I mean, was that just what the doctor ordered last week?
Yeah, I think that was really good for our team, coming out against Memorial, being able to get our running game going like that. It was really good first, second quarter, and then got some of our young guys in towards the end. I think our team really needed that.
Yeah. This season has been a good one. It's been up and down for you guys. We talked to Coach Ball a moment ago. He gave you some props, saying that he felt like you must have put in a lot of time in the offseason with the training program, the weight room, etc., to get yourself to this point. Was that the case? How much of the off-season regimen do you credit your success this season to?
The offseason is a big time for all of us. We're very fortunate at Bedford. We got a lot of guys coming in the weight room every day after school. We get almost our whole team in there every day, and then during our summer workouts, we get our captains practices out there, getting good conditioning in, getting good work in. So it's definitely a big part of our success this season.
Yeah. And who are the guys that you lean on as well? Many, of course, look at the quarterback position. They assume captain, they assume the guy, but we know there's always a few leaders maybe behind the scenes that help take some of that leadership burden off your shoulders. Who are your teammates, classmates that you would say are some of the leaders along with yourself in the locker room?
Obviously my fellow captains, Parker Hemishon, Colin Chandonnet, and Russell Irwin. And then, we also have our whole O-line, they're all very experienced. We got our 2 sophomore tackles, our center and 2 guards. They're all started last year as well. So, that's a big part this year. And then on defense, we got Finn O'Neill at safety and Owen Christopher and Andrew Grudinskis at corners. Those guys are all great leaders, great guys for the young sophomore juniors to look up to. They do a great job, watching them when they're taking reps and critiquing them and making sure they're doing their best on the field. So, all the seniors this year have really done a good job, mentoring for our younger guys. Yeah.
Week 7 already. It seems like it flies by every year. It really does. But a big game, as we know. Exeter, 1 loss on the other side. I'll let Steve ask some of the X's and O's questions to you in a minute. But tell me, how big is this game? Still a regular season game or not? How are you guys approaching this one on the road tomorrow night at Exeter?
This is definitely a huge game for us. It's going to be a big part in setting up where we land at the end of for playoffs. So, we're looking to come in, get a good win, and be in a good position for the rest of the season.
Joe, thanks for coming on. Really appreciate it. Friday Night Lights has watched you since 2019 when we opened up against Londonderry. I think that was the game it was early in the season.
Yeah.
And you were a sophomore quarterback, Joe, and I thought you did a fabulous job just mentally for being a sophomore. You just did a terrific job, and it's been a real joy, a real honor following your game and improvement. And it's so obvious that the work that you've obviously put in to be the best quarterback you can be. I think you're. If I were a college, I said this multiple times, but I'll say it right to you. If I were a college, I'd be looking. And really taking in your decision making and your multiple threats that you bring to the game. Given that, you're going to be facing Exeter. If there's one thing I've seen Coach Ball do is he knows how to lock down his corners and his defensive backfield on receivers. As you go into that game, obviously, you're aware of that. How do you see you guys matching up against them, and where do you see that your team on the offensive side of the ball has got to hit on all cylinders?
Exeter's obviously a very aggressive team. Their linebackers come up really hard. Their D-line does a great job of, shocking the O-line and getting off blocks. And these come down hard. So it's definitely going to be a very physical game. That's something we've been getting ready for all week. Just being stout up front and being ready to hit.
Running the ball, Joe, I think that's a thing that most people don't It's not that not everyone knows you're a good running quarterback, but that seems to me to see something that I've seen this year is that quick decision-making. After you go back to throw a pass, you seem to have a tremendous vision to read the separation of those receivers and run the ball. Do you anticipate you're going to have to do that tomorrow night?
I'm not anticipating it, but I definitely am going to be ready for it.
Yeah. The other thing is when you look downfield, Joe, are you looking for three receivers, or are you looking at a primary two?
Well, I'm mainly looking at where the defense is when I'm dropping back to pass.
Yep.
I really know where my receivers are at that time. So, I'm really just watching what their safeties are doing, what their corners are doing, where their linebackers are going. So, we always have a lot of guys going out in there into pass reads. So we always have probably like three receivers out there. So it's always a read progression. I have my first read and then second read, third read, and fourth read. So I always start with one. If I see what a corner's doing or what their safety's doing, I'll go to my next read. It's really just I mainly focus on watching the defense.
And just a quick question about I know you're all dialed in the game tomorrow night, but just wondering if you're looking forward to moving on after this great high school season that you guys are in. Are you looking beyond?
I am a little bit. I'm not really sure what I'm doing right now, but I'll be sure to let you know when I do.
Yeah, please do, because I can see I could think of a number of programs that would like a Joe Michael in today's offensive style football. Before I hand it back to Nick, Coach Matthews, you and Coach Matthews seem to have a very good relationship. When I watch you guys communicate, is that is it been a special relationship working with him? Because it sure seems that way when I watch you guys out in the field together.
Yeah, it's really nice to have a good relationship with my coach because his first year was my sophomore year. So
yes.
I was starting that first year, and he had just come to Bedford. So, kind of grown up in this program together and, helped learn off of each other. So we definitely have a good relationship when it comes to that. Well,
before I turn it back to Nick, if I was picking a team and I was going to look across New Hampshire today, you'd be right up the top. I got to tell you, Joe, what you performed and your quick release and just the natural capability, in your head, as well as the physical capabilities to run, pass, and boy, I haven't seen anybody in a while be able to throw a ball out an 16-yard out pattern with a kind of velocity and precision. So, thank you for taking the game so seriously, because it's been awful fun to watch, buddy. And keep us posted on the college thing after the season, and best of luck as Bedford moves ahead, heading towards playoffs. Best of luck tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Joe, I got one final question for you. Enough of the football stuff. What do you like to do off the field? What do you do in your spare time? What's Joe Michael like as the teenager, the student athlete?
School is definitely a big part of my life right now. I'm getting ready for college applications and all that type of stuff. But my family also runs a charity in Bedford that feeds kids in Manchester called Fueled by. That takes up a lot of my time.
What is it called again, Joe?
It's called Fueled by Kids.
Yeah, I've seen it. Okay.
Me and my siblings started that when my oldest sister was a junior in high school.
Terrific.
Wow. I'd say, yeah, that's some character-building stuff for sure. Good luck, Joe, not just tomorrow night, not just the rest of the season, but the rest of the way. And we appreciate you jumping on with us for sure. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
We'll be at the game.
All right.
We're going to have 3 cameras tomorrow night, so there's going to be a lot of good close-up shots of you and your teammates. So we can't wait to do it.
All right, perfect. Sounds good.
Thank you, Joe. That again, Joe Michael,
a nice young man.
Yeah, he's sharp. He's focused. Smiling the whole time, Steve. Seemed like he enjoyed the experience. We know how good he is, right? I mean, smooth, mechanical. The play action looks natural. What do you think tomorrow night? I mean, can Bedford go in there and pull one off at Exeter. I think it would surprise some people, but then on the end, it probably really wouldn't surprise them because Bedford, we know, capable of slaying some giants for sure.
I don't think either one of these good coaches, one being a legend in Coach Bill Ball, I don't think either one of these guys thinks that they have the game in the bag. They know they have to play at a high level. I think Joe Michael is a big part of this game tomorrow night. I think it's a big game for him and his teammates. He would obviously defer. It's a big night for the Holds, but it's also a big night for him as well. I think that if there's any cornerbacks and safeties on Exeter that are looking to play forward, they're going to play against a real future college peer at some level for sure in college. There's no doubt in my mind, and it's going to be an opportunity for them to perform. And I think I always talk about it's the lines, and there isn't a football game played that the lines aren't part of it.
Sure.
But I think the thing that I'm looking for sort of on an amplifier, if you will, tomorrow night is the defensive back and then Joe Michael orchestrating the passing game.
Yeah.
And can he continue to make those great heady decisions that it's not there, throw it out of bounds if he's stuck in the pocket, or is he got a lane to beat outside the pocket and get some running room downfield? This is going to be a really fun game to watch, but Coach Bill Ball is a master at slowing the game down, and I think a big part of it is going to be controlling the football to keep Joe on the sidelines rather than on the field. But to your point, Joe Michael, with all of the natural ability that everyone saw by the time he was a junior and you could see developing as a sophomore, the thing that impresses me so much is the mature decisions that he makes, and he recognizes that maintaining, keeping the football when you got an arm like he does, if it ain't there, throw it out of bounds. And he's done it almost with precision. I'll bet you if you did a passer and a quarterback rating, I bet you he'd be extremely high. So I think Bedford can win this game. It's going to be tough, and they're going to have to execute at a high level. But I think you've got to give Exeter a slight favorite given what's going on. They face Winnicott 14-7. Bedford faced Winnicott, not quite that close. So you got to take that, but that's about all it's worth.
A while ago now as well. It was week 1, the Bedford-Winnicott matchup.
That's a long time.
It might as well have been a year ago at this point.
I'm just trying to grab onto something that you can say that can do a comparing.
Week number 7 in high school football comes your way tomorrow night. You can see it live here. There's the camera. Live on Friday Night Lights.
Still getting used to this.
Full 1080 HD. Kickoff at 7 to 6:45 coverage comes your way, presented by Beals Insurance. All right, already an hour in the book, Steve, here on FNL Gridiron. Still 2 more head coaches to interview, Coach O'Reilly and Coach Triciani. The Pinkerton man is up next. Oh, and by the way, Pinkerton faces BG in Nashua. We're there Saturday as well. So we'll preview that game with both of these brilliant head coaches coming up in just a moment. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. It's FNL Gridiron here on Friday Night Lights New Hampshire. It's live every Thursday at 6. The archives are up on our YouTube channel, FNLNH Media. I'm Nick Anastas with Steve Beals, live from the Beals Insurance Studios. We'll hear from Coach Triciani in about 15 minutes. BG hosting Pinkerton, and joining us now on the phone is longtime Astros head coach Brian O'Reilly. Coach, good evening.
Good evening, guys.
You mentioned you are live from the field, the freshman football game between Pinkerton and BG. Coach, in years past, I believe you mentioned that your freshman team hadn't lost in like 7 or 8 years. Are they still undefeated or no?
No, not recently. Not recently. They're doing fine. Our freshman team, they're doing fine right now. We've got good freshman team. We got good numbers, but we certainly have lost a number of games over the years.
Okay.
I'm happy with this crew. It's a good freshman crew.
Obviously, you've had a pipeline. I guess we'll stick with the youth theme here. The Dairy Demons for years have been just one of the better stellar feeder programs. You have one of the bigger staffs, obviously bigger schools, and it just seems like a pipeline. Has it been business as usual at the youth level, Coach? We don't get much of an update. From time to time we might hear something, but what's the state of football in Derry, not just at Pinkerton, but in Derry at the youth level?
You got Wolverines.
It's very good. It's not only the Demons, the Wolverines. We get those are the older groups. We get them. So last year was a surprising year. I went and watched the Wolverines, and they were just pure dynamite. I was like, wow, this will be great, except there were like 5 kids from Massachusetts on the team, and I found out the same thing happened in Salem. So for those of us in southern New Hampshire a year ago, because Massachusetts football was shut down, they got an influx of Massachusetts kids, but it's back to normal now. We have there's a full schedule of youth games going on, and football seems to be back. The COVID situation doesn't seem to have affected it too much.
And speaking of the COVID-19 situation, there's been a few games canceled here or there, but by and large, really night and day different from what we saw a year ago with the empty stadiums, etc. We were there, obviously, a couple weeks back when you hosted Londonderry. Nearly, in our estimation, 5,000 or so folks were out there. The band, the color guard, the student sections back and forth. It was a real atmosphere again. Was that sorely missed, Coach, do you think, now that it's been back? I mean, obviously us, the football junkies, noticed it right away, but do you feel like the average football fan maybe didn't notice it until it was gone, and now that it's back has found a newfound appreciation for the atmosphere that surrounds the game itself?
I agree completely with that. The one thing about football has over all the other sports, and I've coached other sports, it's the atmosphere. It's the band, it's the cheerleaders, it's the night games and the crowd. And we had almost forgotten what that was like. And as you say, it was an atmosphere. And it's good for school. It's good for the student bodies. It's good to get back to some type of normalcy. I mean, we still have our issues, and there's still some things being canceled now and then, but it's nothing like it was last year, thankfully.
Yeah, thankfully is the key word there. Your group seemingly has responded well since that aforementioned game against Londonderry. You lose that game against the Lancers, but you respond with back-to-back wins. Your team has momentum yet again. What does this say about that group? Were they able to just put that loss against the Lancers, your rival, in a lot of ways? They put that in the rearview mirror, they move forward, and they continue to succeed. What does that say about your group, about this group?
It's what we preach to them. I mean, we never set a goal to be undefeated. We always set a goal to get to the playoffs and then win them all. So they understand that it's not the be-all and end-all. It also gave us a chance to start working some other kids in. It's something that we needed to do, and it's continued on for the last several weeks. We're still missing a bunch of people, but we're a big school. We've got plenty of people, and no one feels sorry for us. So we're just plugging more and more kids in, and we're getting better and better.
Coach, Steve here. I just want to go back to that MacPlac game. Just so you know, not only were 5,000 or 6,000 people there, we're heading towards 4,500 long-watched views on YouTube of that game. So that game has really struck a chord, I think, well beyond just Londonderry and Pinkerton Academy and Londonderry High School. I will never forget that game. I think what we're coming out of, I think that game was needed across the state to be seen. And I think that you and your athletic director Londonderry High School, you hosting them, bringing them in, the work together with the band, and then the 5,000 people singing louder than the instruments, the anthem, cheerleaders, just jacked up, ready to go, putting on a tremendous performance. I can't tell you how much I applaud what Pinkerton Academy did and how they hosted that game. And I hope that everybody there is proud, because we were certainly honored and proud to be there.
Oh, thank you.
I mean that. It was an unbelievable experience. Yeah. Any thoughts on when you walked off, even though you didn't come out with a win? It was very early in the season, and I would argue that if you didn't run into the laundry on the field to the extent you did in the first half, that could have been a very different game.
That comes and goes. I don't worry about that.
No, I know.
No, we got. We'll be fine. Well, we got caught with some key injuries in that game we weren't ready for, and it was too early in the season to make adjustments. Again, it was a great game. They're a better team than us right now, and we're just getting ready for Bishop Girton, because I'll tell you what, they're a good football team also.
Couldn't agree with you more. Let's talk about Bishop Girton. As you go in there, Coach, I know you're a film guy. I know you like to look at film of the good coaches always do, but you're also very focused on executing your offense at a high level. How are they looking now compared to the last time that the game, last 4 or 5 weeks? How's that offense developing? And how do you think you guys match up against that good Bishop Girton team?
I think it's going to be a great game.
Me too.
I think we match up fairly well. They're a big, powerful team, a good power game. Santa Suazo is a great runner. Heck, he might even be a better safety as far as coming down and hammering people. We are sticking with the basics. We've been that for a while, and working people in and out, and I think we're getting better and better every week. This game is a unique game in the respect that it doesn't matter who wins and loses. Mathematically, it matters as far as who wants to win. But
correct.
We're going to play Bishop Girton in the first round, regardless of what happens Saturday night, and we're going to play Bishop Girton at Stello Stadium in the first round, regardless of what happens Saturday night. So it's kind of unique in that way. It's not a normal situation, and there are different ways to handle that, and I don't know how they'll handle it. I'm still not sure how we're going to handle it, but we'll be back and seeing each other in about 3 weeks after this. So this is a feel them out game coming up.
Before you go, I want to call out a player, and I want it's your nose guard there, Santa. Oh gosh, I don't pronounce his name right.
Rocco?
Who?
Is it Rocco for BG or for?
No, for you guys. Your
Yes,
your captain. One of your captains, right?
Yes.
That guy I watched in the game against Londonderry, and I've watched some film since. Tell me about him. How did you get him early on as a freshman, or because he gives everything he's got every play?
Yes, he does. He's we've had him. He played freshman football for us. It's his 4th year with us. He's always a smile on his face. One of the nicest kids you'd ever want to meet.
Yes.
Great family. He just works hard. He's not the tallest kid in the world, so he's built low to the ground. He's a perfect nose guard, offensive guard kind of guy, but he's captain for a reason. Kids love him. Coaches love him. He's a good, hard-nosed player, and happy to have him on the team. Yeah,
all the things that you just said, you can see that watching him on the field and the way his peers kind of relate to him. He's been fun to watch on film when I've watched him, and then obviously the Mac Plaque game as well was terrific. So we're going to be there Saturday night. I can't wait for that game. I'm looking see what happens if you break Albert in the open and Santa Suazo, looking to see who wins that battle. It's a lot of inside football matchups in that game. They're going to be exciting for us to watch. So best of luck to you, and I'll hand it back to Nick. As always, Coach, we appreciate you coming on and look forward to an exciting game.
Thanks, Steve. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Yeah, thank you, Coach. As usual, we enjoyed the conversation, and we look forward to talking to you again down the road. Thank you.
Good luck.
All right. See you Saturday night.
You bet you. That's, again, longtime Astros head coach Brian O'Reilly, not just the head football coach at Pinkerton, but also the school's athletic director. The opponent is BG. Their head coach is John Triciani Jr., and you guessed it, he joins us in just a minute. You're watching FNL Gridiron. It's presented by Beals Insurance. Our broadcast today, as it always is brought to you by Beals Insurance Agency, with locations now in both Bedford and Londonderry. Whether you need home, auto, or business insurance, Beals Insurance will get you both the price and quality coverage that's right for you. Just call 603-471-9999 or visit BealsInsurance.com to request a free quote and start saving money today. Again, that's BealsInsurance.com. Is your company interested in showcasing your brand to thousands of high school sports fans across New Hampshire? If not, why not? And if so, let's go. Friday Night Lights New Hampshire is seeking sponsorship partners. It's the perfect way for your company to get out in front of the moms and dads who make up our community. Help us help you, and we can grow together. If you're interested in partnering with Friday Night Lights New Hampshire, then email us at fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. That's fnlnhmedia@gmail.com. Join our team today. All right, back here at the Beals Insurance Studios, Nick Anastas with Steve Beals. It's FNL Gridiron. It's heard every Thursday at 6 live. And, of course, anytime after that via the archives. We're on YouTube at FNLNH Media. FNLNH Media is the handle on YouTube. Tomorrow night, we are in Exeter, Bedford at Exeter. That's a 7 o'clock kick. Our coverage begins at 6:45 live from Bill Ball Stadium.
Yeah.
Saturday night, we're at Stello Stadium in Nashua for another 7 o'clock kick between Pinkerton and BG. That coverage, is that a 6:15 start? 6:30 start?
6:30.
6:30 kick on Saturday. I apologize. So our coverage, that makes sense, begins at 6:15. So 7 o'clock Friday, 6:30 on Saturday. Hit the subscribe button on the channel. You'll be reminded, and you won't miss a thing. All right, we heard from Pinkerton coach Brian O'Reilly a moment ago. We get the other side now with BG head coach John Triciani Jr., who joins us right now. Coach, good evening.
He's in the man cave.
He's in the man cave where we like to see him. How are you, Coach?
Good to see you guys. Awesome.
Good.
Happy to be here.
Good to see you. Your team survived a 1-point win over Nashua North, 26-25. That a good experience for your club? Having to find a way to win in the fourth quarter, protect the lead, go back and forth, face some adversity, and win a close game. Is that healthy for your ball club?
Yeah, I think it's always, about the kids and realizing that each year, you're getting new kids too. So each experience helps at some point along the way, and you hope that they learned a few things that we might be able to later on in the year kind of go back to those things and see how we can improve. But yeah, it's a learning experience for sure, and being able to get through those close games I think is clutch.
Mm-hmm. We talked to you last, I don't know what week it was, early in the season. You guys had looked good when we saw you against Salem in week number 2, and then you continue to rack up some wins. The lone blemish came in week number 3 against Londonderry. But assess your club here heading into week 7. Coach, what kind of improvement have you seen? Has anything surprised you? I mean, just give us an update on where you are here. Just one loss through 6 games of the season.
Yeah, I think we're really happy with where we are right now. As you heard Coach O'Reilly talk about, the way things kind of look with potentially seeing them again in the playoffs. If you had talked about that at the beginning of the year with people, I think, around the state, I don't know if you would have heard BG in the conversation there. So we're happy with how it's gone. We try to stress to the kids, get better each week. I personally was not thrilled with the game that we had against North. And I think as a coach, sometimes you get caught up with, never really being satisfied. You're always looking for more. You're always trying to, find the perfect game, and it's never quite going to happen. So, we just try to learn from each of those experiences and correct some things on film and, try to treat each game as kind of like a 1-week season. And we won last week, and then we're going to try to, obviously focus on this week.
Yeah, it looks like potentially this could be a playoff preview against Pinkerton. They're currently second in the Southern Conference. You guys basically wrapped up the West. If this is indeed a playoff preview, do you expose all your cards Saturday night? Do you hold anything back? How do you approach it game plan-wise as a head coach, knowing you may see Pinkerton again in just 3 weeks or so?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And just to be honest, like, it's really uncharted waters for me, to think about the situation that we're in. It brings up a lot of questions as far as how the NHIA handles the playoffs and, how there's no reseeding and how we get, to play a team again in the first round. It's very interesting how the whole thing is set up. From my standpoint with our kids, we've tried to just do, even back to the Jamboree when you saw us at the Queen City Jamboree, people kind of handle that differently too. And I don't think anything is wrong, but our attitude is when we're putting the pads on and the jerseys are on, and we're going to go out on the football field, we're going out there to win. We're going to play to win. We're going to do everything that we can to win. And we're just going to know if we are in a situation where we see them again, hopefully we can kind of see what works, what didn't work, and have an idea of what adjustments to make. But I can tell you we're not holding anything back or anybody back, and we're going to attack the game like we would any other week.
Certainly makes sense to me, right, Steve?
Well, it makes all the sense in the world. There's two things you can do. You can hide your cards if you know you're playing that team, and like Coach O'Reilly said, he's probably in the know. He's probably right, so you got to assume that, right? The other thing is you're missing the opportunity to get a real matchup. And depending on what kind of coach you are, I think Coach Triciani, correct me if I'm wrong, Coach, you'd rather have a situation where you go out there, you keep that intensity, and you get the sort of matchup and the sort of film that you need and the intelligence that you need to move towards that next game. Is that what you're thinking? Because that's what I'd be thinking if it was me.
Yeah, 100%. And then the other thought I have is the way the season's set up, it's a 9-game season.
Right.
Which is too short as is. So I'm gonna treat this game,
You're not
just
getting
like
an argument here.
Yeah, I'm not gonna sit any guys or hold anybody back. And the game flow can go a certain way, and that may dictate, how coaches kind of deal with certain things that might happen. But yeah, we're not gonna hold anything back, and we're excited because it's it's a test. Where do we stand? And it's a great Pinkerton team with a lot of tough kids. So it's a great test for us.
That the interior, those two guards that on offense of Pinkerton look to me like if a team's not ready, they could be trouble, John. And because I think they do a great job of cleaning and opening some pathways. They pull well. They pull both sides well. Do you see do you see that, or if not, what factors do you see with Pinkerton that you specifically say we have to execute at a high level to win the matchup?
Yeah, it's always probably like I told you guys last time I was on. It's always about the offense and defensive lines. It's always the games are one up front. It doesn't really matter, about the skill guys. Not that they're not important, but it's always up front. And what Pinkerton's shown offensively, and then especially on the defensive line, is they have some really good football players that are extremely physical. And we know what Pinkerton is. Brian O'Reilly's been there for a long time. He has my respect and everybody else's respect, throughout the state. I'd really like to turn on the film some year and see some Pinkerton teams that maybe, didn't look so tough and physical. I don't know what it is, but it doesn't matter what year it is, you're getting the same thing. And, we're going to just try the best that we can to match that physicality, which is very, very difficult to do.
So physicality, when you look against you got your offense on the field and you look at that defense, obviously, you got your game plan that you got to preserve and protect, but where are the assets that you see in Pinkerton that you've got to, as I said earlier, you've got to hit at a high level, just execute at a high level?
Yeah,
if you had to pick.
We're going to try to run the ball. We're going to try to be true to the team that we've been to this point. So we obviously have to eliminate turnovers and any negative plays. We have to do a good job up front. Their D-line, we're seeing 65 is unbelievable, and then you got 87. They got a linebacker 56 who's as good as anybody I've seen. They're playing a lot on defense with a too high safety look, and those guys are screaming up the field, making tackles sometimes at the line of scrimmage or in the backfield. So there's when I look at it, I don't really see any weaknesses. So we're just going to try to align to them the best that we can and run our stuff, and then see how they kind of line up to us and make those adjustments from there. We definitely don't see any weaknesses. We're going to try to shorten the game, similar probably to what we tried to do against Salem. with another run-oriented team, and just see how the flow of the game goes.
Obviously, Matt Sanasuazo, just a terrific guy to step up there and be your quarterback, and he's got the, fundamentally, he's played within himself on the offensive side of the ball and just done a terrific job. Anytime you can run a quarterback with his skills, it's always good. What a weapon that is. But when you start thinking about Matt, you start thinking about safety. Let's be honest. This kid is I think he's the best safety in the state. I have not seen anybody better. And if they're as good, maybe. I haven't seen that quite yet either. I'm going to go out on a limb maybe and say that. And then you got Coach O'Reilly that knows how to spring Albert out there. Do you see that as a matchup in the game of shadowing Albert to make sure he doesn't go to the house, or make sure, because Sanasuazo's instincts are just incredible to follow his keys and root out where the ball is. Any thoughts on that matchup at all?
I think that there's always a thought process when you're playing Pinkerton, and it's almost that you can't necessarily focus on one back because they always have more than one.
Good point.
Obviously, Albert, I believe, is number 2. He's been good early on in the year. More recently, you've seen a little bit more of 25, who's extremely tough and a very hard runner. So it's one of those, you focus on one, they're going to get you with somebody else. So it's just trying to line up, be as disciplined as you can, and then we talk about the offense and defensive lines. It's also going to come down to us tackling on defense as well. So if we're going to do a good job tackling, I think it'll be a very, very competitive game. If we don't do a good job tackling, and we're not necessarily as disciplined as we would like, you can run into some trouble. But always multiple running backs for these teams.
Both teams, John, like to control the football and thus control the clock on the scoreboard. Do you see that whoever wins that battle on the offensive side, time of possession, is a big factor in this game as well?
Yeah, it's time of possession and it's turnovers, and then both teams are run heavy, and then we'll pick and choose those spots that they may throw. So you got to stay disciplined. Neither team wants to be in a position where they're behind, having to come from behind and maybe force to throw the ball more than you would like. But yeah, I think it's going to be relatively straightforward as far as the game plan on both sides. It's really going to be the blocking and tackling, and then the physicality, I think, for sure.
Well, before I go, hand it back to Nick. That game in Salem was one of the best managed games I've seen by a high school football coach. Certainly ranks up there. I know it takes a whole staff to do that, John, but you were out there leading it, and congratulations on that win against Steve Abraham's excellent Salem team. We really enjoyed covering that one. We are going to be there, as Nick said, on Saturday night. We're looking forward to, always love coming to Stellar Field, and we'll be adding a third camera in the other end zone. So we hope we'll be able to provide some film that everybody will be able to enjoy that night, and maybe you guys can, the two coaches and staffs can take a look at. So we should be able to get some really good shots of action and replay and all that, and we really appreciate and are honored to come do that game with you guys as well. I know it's going to be a great crowd, and we certainly expect to have a pretty good viewership from home too. So best of luck to you with two great coaches, and best of luck to you, John, personally. Is the big guy going to be up on the upstairs, or is he at another game?
I actually talked to him tonight. He said he's got a game at Stonehill maybe Saturday afternoon, and then he's going to race back, and he'll be there, but he'll probably be either on the sideline or up in the stands. We kind of keep him up in the stands. We can't really trust his behavior sometimes if he gets a little too close.
Oh, great. Best of luck, John. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
All right, back to Nick.
Thank you, Coach. Good luck on Saturday. Tell your father we said hello as well.
Will do.
Safe travels.
Thank you,
Coach.
Support.
You bet.
Thank you.
We'll see you there.
Again, John Triciani Jr., son of John Triciani Sr., who is the defensive line coach with St. Anselm. Hawks are playing the Skyhawks of Stonehill Saturday afternoon down in Massachusetts. We, as you said, Steve, will be at Stello Stadium 6:30 on Saturday. Our coverage gets going at about 6:15 as Pinkerton plays BG. Of course, tomorrow night we are in Exeter at Bill Ball Stadium as the Bedford Bulldogs take on the Exeter Bluehawks. That's a 7 o'clock kick tomorrow night. 6:45 is our coverage.
Just bravo to the unbelievable set of coaches that we have in Division 1 and 7 in New Hampshire. Not that Division 2 and 3 and 4 aren't great as well. We
younger, older, and
younger,
old
doesn't matter.
right?
Whether from the legends all the way down to the first and second year guys. Obviously having John on and Coach O'Reilly exemplify that as well. I think it's hard to argue that anybody's got more out of his team this year than John. John's maximizing what he has to its fullest potential, and this is a big defining game, I think, and I think both teams are going to play hard to win. Obviously, Coach O'Reilly's a great competitor. He makes unbelievable adjustments during the game, and he stays cool. This is just going to be a great matchup. Of it's kind of like having Lozon and O'Reilly go, or Triciani and Bill Ball go. We just love these matchups with just nothing but class people going out in the field, representing their towns. But it's hard to look at John and so far and look at what he's got out of that group of guys. I think he's done a terrific job, and kudos to him. But we couldn't have a better couple games.
We are going to see 2 good football games.
Yes, we are
this weekend.
All 4 of these teams just don't give up.
Right.
And then we pull it all. If they lose, get a little distance, you guarantee you that other team is going to step up and give everything they had for 4 quarters. They're 48-minute teams for sure.
Right. All right. Just about does it for us. Want to thank our guests, Roger Brown of the New Hampshire Union Leader, also the founder of New Hampshire Football Report. We appreciate him as we always do. Coach Ball, the Exeter AD and head coach. We thank him for joining us live from the field. Joe Michael was a treat to talk to as well.
Yeah,
Third-year starter, the senior quarterback for Bedford. And, of course, Coach O'Reilly from Pinkerton. We thank Coach Triciani from BG as well. Our director tonight, Ben Beals, working overtime behind the scenes. We thank Kristen Beals as well for unexpectedly bailing us out a few minutes into the show.
Headsets.
We appreciate that. Of course, John Barron checking some of the nuts and bolts as well. Our lead videographer will be on the scene tonight, along with Craig Incardoni. We got 3 cameras going tomorrow night in Exeter, so we hope to see you there. Again, the channel, FNLNH Media. That's Friday Night Lights, New Hampshire's home on YouTube. Again, the channel name is FNLNH Media. We are live tomorrow night at 6:45. For my partner, executive producer Steve Beals, my name is Nick Anastas saying so long. This has been FNL Gridiron, presented by Beals Insurance.